All right. So, how does belief move into knowing? Knowing is what actually shifts our timeline. Okay, so first we're going along and we are, we're making a lot of conscious decisions, or we think we are. But most of the time, okay, in this stage that I'm talking about, unconscious beliefs in our DNA, other people's stuff, stuff brought through our ancestral line on all sides, and even stuff that we're integrating from other versions of us in other timelines and other lifetimes, okay? They're unconscious beliefs. So we're just bobbing along, and I just flashed on that movie. It's a Netflix series called I-Land, and we're just put into this universe, this realm, this board game, this timeline, and it's like, oh, here's a knife. Oh, here's a book. Oh, here's a tent, right? I don't know if you've seen that show. It's kind of interesting, but just more food for thought on the fact that we're, in a simulation or whatever. But, okay, so then our reality's got things going on. People will come into our reality, different types of jobs, different types of, got to go to college, got to do this, got to do that, based on unconscious beliefs. Okay, so beliefs of our ancestors, beliefs in our DNA, beliefs in we're not conscious of. We're not 100% aware of those beliefs. Okay, so they're creating our reality. Okay, then we move into going, oh, well, wait a minute. We want to know what our unconscious beliefs are. So we do this by every emotion, every thought, everything that comes up. We go, okay, well, if I feel really bad right now about this particular thing, then what must I believe to be feeling this emotion? And you can do it with positive stuff too, but then the stuff that feels negative or feels bad is what I tend to work with people on it. So if they get really sad because of a certain particular person, financial situation, anything at all has come up in their life, I ask them, well, what must you believe to feel that way? Well, I just feel bad because, I don't have any money or whatever. Okay, so do you believe that you'll never have any money? Well, no. Do you believe that nobody can have money? No. Do you believe that you have to work really hard for money? Well, no, not everybody does. Okay, well, you just keep asking these questions to identify what the person believes. And then sometimes it's hard because they kind of get where you're going and the programs will take over and they're like, wait, I don't want to go here. I don't want to admit to this. So then you go, okay, wait. So you go, like, if they have children or someone else they're close to, or even a stranger, and use them as an example. Say, okay, so so-and-so down the street, if they don't have any money today or whatever, or they have like a shortage of money, should they feel sad? Should they kill themselves? I mean, what would you tell them? And then you get them thinking, okay, then you get them to start to go, okay, well, this is what I would tell them. This is what I would do if that. And then they're identifying their belief. Kind of roundabout, because sometimes it's hard for people to go, oh, well, yeah, I believe that people can do that, but I know that I can't. I believe that people can have this and that going on in their life, but I don't believe that I can, right? So we want to bypass the low self-esteem program and the programs that were put on us by others and identify our own belief, but sometimes it's hard. So if we use examples of other people or people's kids or people's partners or, parents or just other people in their life, go, oh, what do you think about this? They're like, oh, no, I would definitely blah, blah, blah. And then they're shocked. They hear themselves say it and they're like, because they know what I'm going to say next. I'm like, well, then why is it different for you? Oh, well, because it just is. It's just different for me. Okay. So then they've identified that they believe this certain way. So, for example, they don't believe that something is bad for someone else, and it can be anything. I've helped people with okay, so well, I'm not even going to list any examples. Actually, I'm not. So I don't want to get your head going there. But just remember, it can be anything, and then once they identify what they believe for other people, they have identified that's their basic belief. So then when it comes to themselves, they believe something different. That's because that's a program, right? That's put on them by someone else. That's in their DNA. That's the unconscious beliefs. Okay. Now we go along and these unconscious beliefs are creating reality. But once we identify the belief, wow. Okay. So then I work with people to identify the belief, and then you don't have to do any work. You don't have to change everything in your life. You don't have to go and make amends and do 12 steps and do all these things and call everybody and change it. You don't have to change anything. You just identify the belief to yourself. And then that changes so much. It just really shifts. It just does shifts. They like this shifts. Okay. Then you move into creating your reality consciously, because you know what you believe. Okay. And it doesn't matter which side of the coin you're on. Nothing good, nothing bad, just your preference. But once you identify your belief versus the belief of people that were kicking your ass and abusing you and just all kinds of negative stuff that put this belief into your DNA, and you're living it, you're thinking it's your belief, you've identified it's not my belief for other people. It's only my belief for myself. So that means it's a program, and you're used to having your ass kicked by these people. So you're like, okay, so you've identified that. Okay. Now you know what you believe. So now you're creating your reality consciously. And it can be the same thing. It can be something different. I mean, once you find the belief, you can find that, oh my gosh, I believe something completely different than the way I'm acting. Like my personal belief. My program believes something else. Okay. Oftentimes they're the same. Sometimes they're different. I'm not sure if you're following me on that, but okay. So then we're consciously creating reality. Okay. From there, how do we shift timelines? Okay. We shift timelines by holding a certain frequency for a prolonged period of time. Okay. And right now we're shifting timelines, but right now, more than anything, the last many years, timelines have been collapsing. So say there's this main core, say this is 0 point, and you got 100 timelines on this side and 100 timelines on this side. There's thousands and millions for every choice point you've ever had. Okay. But say there's 100 on each side. They start to fold in to the 0 point, and then there's less and less and less until there's none on either side, and they've merged into this main timeline. That's what we're doing now. And I'm going to do a video here next about what that feels like and what that looks like. Okay. So we've identified the belief. We're consciously creating our reality. Okay. Or we're creating our reality knowing based on our own beliefs. So it may be positive, maybe negative for us. We may be comfortable, maybe not, maybe poor, maybe rich, maybe whatever. But we're creating it based on our true belief. Okay. So then we go along in that for a while. And then belief turns into knowing. And when we know, we shift. So, for example, I have always known spirit. I've always connected with, I just felt this just huge emotion, like I just got to start bawling. I've always known spirit. I've always known the other side of the veil. I've always known there was no death. I've always known that no matter what my consciousness is in, it's still me. I have always spent tons of time alone my whole life with Mother Earth, with spirit. I always had lots of stories in my head and poems and just this other connection. And I had an innate knowing, kind of, let's just call it technical knowing, book learned knowing, even without books, but kind of a knowledge base versus intuition and just tapping into the Akash, right? So I knew things when I was young. I saw things before they happened. I had certain beliefs about God. I studied Bible stories with my grandma, and one thing I remember with my grandma is saying to her that I really didn't get. I was in junior high and I was studying the Bible with her, just Jehovah's Witness, the yellow Bible story books, and I'm like, I don't get how God has no beginning and no end. And she's just like, well, he just does, but that was something that was really weird to me. And so, But I can have a belief in the supernatural. I can have a belief in astral travel. I can have a belief in creative money, have a belief that positive thinking creates a positive reality. I can really figure out my beliefs and consciously be creating my reality. Okay? Lovely. I believe now that I had a belief that I could never live in a car. I couldn't go days without food or water. I couldn't, there's so much, I had a belief system about different types of people, ways of life, ways of business, ways of so many things I can't even describe here, that I had a belief. And once I started living in the car and experiencing it at this level of knowing, right? Once you experience something past belief and into actual experience, then you're in the knowing. You can't integrate your human experience with just regular knowledge or regular belief. Books, things other people tell you, you go, okay, you got it. I got it all down. I got it by heart. Know it all. Okay. But I'm using know in two different ways here. I realize that. It's just the language. But once I experienced where I could change my body temperature, change my breath, disassociate from body pain, not be bothered by cars going by, not be scared of living in a car, not be scared of being cold, not be scared of... Once I transitioned my belief on what it all was into absolute knowing, and this is just one example, then I started shifting timelines. Once you actually know for sure, once you've seen it, you've experienced it in the physical, incarnate, in this human vehicle, well, maybe not this one, because we change timelines every second, right? But in... that blew my whole theory. No, in the physical consciousness, what seems physical, even though we're just a dense hologram, won't go there now. Then you move the belief into knowing. And once you fully know something without a doubt inside of yourself, regardless of what anyone else says, then you shift to a timeline where that is an absolute truth for you. Okay? So you actually have to have the experience to move into knowing. And knowing is what shifts your timeline. So you can have like epiphany after epiphany, like, oh, whoa, that's really cool. You get it. You've studied stuff. People's told you stuff. You notice stuff. But then when it finally happens to you and you get it, you like, oh, I get it. That's knowing. You know, the kind of knowing that when you sit down on a chair, you know you're not going to fall. Right? Yeah, sometimes chairs break and blah, blah, blah. But you know, like I sit on this chair here, I know it's going to catch me. I know I'm not going to just fall through to the ground. That's an absolute knowing. And I learned that knowing, right? I might have had a belief, like I watched other people. Oh, I believe because other people sit on a chair, the cute dog out there, that they're sitting on a chair and they're not falling through. So I believe I'm not going to. I believe that I can go and sit on a chair and that I won't fall through. If I see people jump up and down, I believe that I can jump up and down. Or if they're like hitting a ball, I believe I can hit a ball. But I don't know until I do it myself, right? And that's how we learn things as a human, but that's how we make quantum shifts. So identifying the belief, very important. However, actually living that is the knowing that shifts you to the new timeline. All right, so I'm going to do a lot more videos on timelines and on the Mandela Effect, and well, stay tuned. All right, Goddess bless you all. ReverendCrystalCox@gmail.com if you have any questions, or if you'd like to donate to my church, bbgoddesschurch@gmail.com is our PayPal.